Hi, my name is Muhammad Hanafi and let's talk about environmental costs and benefit. So before we start, let's look at a glimpse of what is the environmental cost and benefit is all about. So I'm gonna give a simple example about the environmental cost and benefit. So T-Life, it's a popular company that I would say that every one of you will know what their product is and what they offer. At first, T-Life offered their drinks with a purple plastic straw, if you remember it. But later then, when the issue about the citazel and the plastic straw in its nostrils, and also the environmental issue regarding the plastic straw and its pollution, then T-Life came up with an idea about the paper straw, the white wine. Since then, the image of T-Life on taking care of the plastic straw issue has been in favor of them. Okay, in this presentation, my team and I are going to present about the definition of environmental cost, its purposes, also the classification, and also the 5 tiers of environmental costs, and also its advantages and also disadvantages. But let's not forget, as per requested from our beloved madam, we're also going to present about Environmental Act by the Ministry of Environmental and Water in Malaysia. Okay, first let's talk about the Environmental Acts by the Ministry of Environment and Water. Any environmental behavior fall under the Environment Quality Act 1974 under the Act of 127. This Act has been amended 2 times, that is in 2007 and also 2012. So let's talk a bit about this Act. So under the Part 4 of the Act 137, it's talk about prohibition and control of pollution. So under the Part 4, there's a several section, that is Section 22 that's talk about atmosphere pollution, Section 23 talk about noise pollution, Section 24 talk about soil pollution, while the Section 25 it states about the restrictions and pollution of inland waters. So let's see a bit about the Section 25. So under the Section 25 subsection 1, it states that no person shall emit or discharge any environmental hazardous substance, pollutants or wastes into any inland waters in contravention of acceptable condition specified under Section 21. So basically it said that no one should discharge any environmental hazardous substance into any inland waters. So next, under Section 25 subsection 3, it said that anyone shall be liable to a fine not exceeding 100,000 ringgit or to imprisonment for a period not exceeding 5 years or to both. Next, let's talk about the definition of the environmental management. So what is the environmental management is all about? So environmental management is a systematic approach to finding a practical ways to save the environment and reduce the negative impact from the economic activities. Therefore, environmental cost benefits is about how the management manage environmental impact costs which arise during company business operation. Okay, next, since we talk about the environmental cost and benefit, so basically what is the environmental cost and what is the environmental benefit? So environmental cost, it is a cost that are connected with the actual or potential deterioration or worsening of the natural assets due to the economic activities. Basically, we know that some of the natures are being affected by some of the economic activities. So next, environmental benefits. It's benefits that are being enjoyed by the organization from the action taken to reduce the impact on the environmental.
Hi, my name is Muhammad Shazwan bin Yahya. Now I'm gonna tell you guys about the purpose of the environmental cost. Firstly, it is to allow all organizations, which is public, private and government collective, to have a corrective assessment. Second is to assist the company in compliance of applicable law and regulations imposed by the authorities. Third is to assess the feasibility of a project, whether the benefit outweigh the cost. Lastly is that to motivate the companies to conserve the environment well, which is to promote a paperless office, implement recycling program, or support Go Green campaign.
Now I proceed with the classification of environmental costs. So there are 4 costs, which are prevention costs, detection costs, internal failure costs, and external failure costs. Okay, first, prevention costs. The cost of activities that are undertaken to prevent or minimize the production of waste. Okay, for the example of activities, first evaluating and selecting suppliers, which means company must choose the supplier that have good practice in environmental control and complying with all the regulation enacted by the government. The second, training program for operators in handling the production machineries. Okay. The reason of training is to reduce the mistake by operators, which leads to the decreasing of defected output, which we call as wastage in our production. Okay, then next we have detection costs, which the cost incurred to ensure that the organization complies with regulation and monitoring standard. Okay. So first activities, example of activities is inspecting product and process. The production process must be consistently supervised, and we also need to inspect the finished product to determine the quality and criteria either comply or not with the regulation. Second, inspecting material delivered from suppliers. This process is very important, as if we can detect in the early phase before the raw material being processed, we can avoid any mistake in the future. Okay, next we have internal failure costs, which is costs incurred from performing activities that have produced contaminants and waste that have not been discharged into the environment. The example of activity is treating and disposing toxic waste and recycled scrap. Okay, last we have external failure cost, which opposite with the internal failure cost. The meaning is the cost incurred on activities performed after discharging waste into the environment. The example of activities is cleaning up oil spills and let's say cleaning up a polluted lake. Okay, that's all.
Okay, now I will be explaining on the 5 tiers of environmental costs. Okay, the first tier is conventional cost. Conventional cost is a direct cost that is associated with capital expenditure, raw materials, and other operating and maintenance costs. Basically, conventional costs can be found in the accounting system of most organizations. However, they may not be reported in the form that they can be readily used by the manager to assess the environmental expenditure. For example, electricity, fuel, and gas that give impact on environment. The second tier is hidden cost. Hidden cost is the cost from activities such as monitoring and reporting of environmental activities and emission, cost of searching for environmentally responsible suppliers, and the cost of cleaning up the contaminated land. Okay, now we move on to the third cost. The third cost is contingent cost. Contingent cost is the cost that may or not may incur in the future. A contingent cost is a potential liability that may occur depending on the outcome of a certain event. Contingent liabilities arising from failure to clean up contaminated sites, fines and penalty for non-compliance with the regulation. Okay, now we move on to the fourth tier in the environmental cost, which is the relationship and image cost. Relationship and image cost is the less tangible cost that benefits to the relation of consumer perception and employee and community relation. Usually, it includes the cost of annual environmental reports and community relation activities. The cost incurred is voluntarily for environmental activities only. They are being less tangible because the direct benefit that resulted from the relationship or image expenses. Okay, the last tier in the environmental cost is the societal cost. Societal cost is the cost that organization impose on others, which the environment and society. The society and environment cannot be compensated for the societal cost, as they may not be legally responsible according to the legal system. Societal costs are very difficult to recognize and measure because the cost of estimating the impact and the specialized environmental knowledge that might needed to do so.
Okay, now we're going to look into the advantages and disadvantages of environmental costs. The first advantage is the resource effectiveness. The organization are more effective when using the resources, since the organization adopt the policy and procedure that will help the management to use and manage their waste resources effectively. Next, it is to improve the public image. By implementing environmental cost management, The company will prevent pollution, preserve natural resources, and also reduce the environmental risk. As a result, the company will gain customer trust, attract new customers, enter into a new market, and also enhance the employee morale. Moreover, it improves the management efficiency. The employee will have to document the procedure of company routines, operation, as well as employee training and maintenance schedule. This not only improve the streamlined operation, but also capture the employee knowledge. While for the disadvantages, it is costly. It requires higher costs such as training costs. This is because the manager and employee need to gain knowledge and understand about the environmental costs in order to produce an eco-designing product that require time consuming to adapt. The next disadvantages is on the time and resources. An environmental management system should help the business to become more profitable by reducing the energy consumption, waste, and therefore cost. However, it is an investment which requires the business to commit time and resources. Finally, it burdensome for small business. For the small business, it is burdensome and challenging to design and implement the environmental cost and management. This is because it needs continuous and systematic approach that need to be followed. Many small business lack of the necessary resources to implement the system.